Welcome to the Might Have Us podcast.
Hey there.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into a discussion about A Court of Silver Flames.
Right. The fifth book in that big series.
Exactly. It comes from, well, an initial chat someone had, unpacking the book's themes. Our mission, really, is just to pull out the key questions, the core ideas that came up in their talk about this one.
Okay, sounds good. And one of the first things that jumped out, apparently, was this whole idea of, well, they called it fairy smut.
Right.
And whether that could actually, help someone heal from trauma.
Which is quite a concept, isn't it?
It really is. The idea that these really sensual parts of a fantasy story might actually play a role in a character processing significant emotional pain.
It makes you think, how does escapism work there?
Yeah.
Is it about finding safety in a fictional world to explore difficult things?
Yeah, maybe reclaiming intimacy, perhaps.
Yeah.
But in a space that feels controlled, safe, because it's fiction.
Mm-hmm. And it does make you wonder how different genres tackle these really sensitive topics.
Totally. Is it the fantasy element that gives you that necessary distance?
Maybe. To explore vulnerability, healing, but through, like, a different kind of lens.
Or maybe it's the focus on the romantic connection itself, even the explicit parts. Does that offer a kind of, narrative of hope, recovery for characters dealing with trauma?
That's a great point. And what about the readers?
Yeah.
What are their expectations in romantasy?
Exactly. Are people finding some kind of catharsis? Or seeing their own feelings validated when these themes pop up?
So it's more than just simple escapism.
Way more. It's just, a pretty deep engagement with real emotions, just framed within this fantastical setting.
Okay, and then there was another big topic, the male partners in the series.
Ah, yes. Their evolution. Or maybe the perceived lack of evolution.
Yeah, there was even a bit of a joke, wasn't there, about how many centuries it takes for one of them to become, like, truly supportive.
Which, really gets to the heart of character development, especially in these long series.
It definitely shows readers are paying attention.
Right. They're noticing patterns, maybe wanting something more nuanced, more supportive from the male characters.
Are they stuck in certain tropes, do you think? Is there a desire for things to shift towards, well, healthier dynamics as the story goes on?
It's a tough balance for an author, I imagine.
For sure. How do you keep characters consistent with who they were, but also let them grow, especially in relationships? Satisfy expectations, but push things forward.
Absolutely. And you think about romantasy, it's often really centered on, female perspectives, female desire, empowerment. So maybe this points to readers wanting the male partners to be genuine equals. Actively supportive, not just static or, the dominant figure all the time.
Makes sense. Okay, so shifting gears quite a bit, they also talked about something totally different.
Oh, yeah.
The idea of the author, SJM, collaborating with Margot Robbie.
Ah, right. Which just goes to show how massive this series has become, doesn't it?
It really does. It's mainstream.
The very fact that a potential project with a huge Hollywood star is even part of the conversation, that says a lot about its reach, its popularity.
It's not just a book thing anymore.
No, it's crossed over into that broader cultural discussion, media speculation, fan excitement about adaptations.
It's pretty amazing when a book series does that, generates that level of buzz.
Yeah.
It just shows how powerful stories can be, capturing imaginations and moving beyond the page.
Yeah.
You don't always see that, especially maybe in this genre mix.
Well, and it's interesting how the fan base fuels that,
Yeah.
that speculation, that desire to see it in different forms.
Shows how strong the connection is to the characters, the world.
Definitely.
Okay, so going back to basics for a second, they did introduce A Court of Silver Flames, specifically as the fifth book in the, quote, internet-breaking romantasy, A Court of Thorns and Roses series.
Right, and those descriptors are key, aren't they?
Yeah, lay it out for us.
Well, romantasy immediately tells you the genre blend. Romance, fantasy. That sets expectations for themes, focus. Internet breaking, that just screams popularity, cultural impact, especially online.
Huge online communities around these books.
Exactly. And then fifth book is crucial context. It's not standalone. It builds on everything that came before the world, the characters, the plot.
So important for anyone picking it up to know it's part of a larger universe.
Absolutely. You need that context to really get the mix of romance, fantasy, world building, ongoing plots. It all fits together.
Makes sense. And finally, they finished up by encouraging people to, subscribe, review, follow them on social media.
Standard stuff for creators, yeah. But it points to building a community, right?
fostering more conversation.
Exactly. Connecting with other people who love romantasy, love these kinds of stories, creating a space for fans to keep talking beyond just one episode or one discussion.
Right, building that shared interest.
Yeah.
So when you pull it all together, this initial look at A Court of Silver Flames through their discussion, it surfaces some really fascinating angles for you, the listener, to think about.
Definitely. You've got these big questions about fantasy's role in healing, maybe.
Yeah, and how relationships, particularly those male partners, evolve or don't over time in fiction.
The sheer cultural size of the series, that whole SJM Margot Robbie buzz.
Plus a clear picture of its genre romantasy and its place in the wider series.
And of course, that desire to build a community around these shared interests.
So it leaves you wondering, doesn't it, about all the different ways popular fiction can make us talk about things like emotional health, relationship dynamics.
And just its overall place in our culture today. How do these stories resonate so strongly with so many people?
We'll have to think about there.